up, Princeton lacrosse fans? Welcome to episode 1 of Sticks and Stripes, Lacrosse Sticks, Tiger Stripes. This is going to be your all-access, behind-the-scenes podcast of Princeton lacrosse on both the men's and the women's side. We're going beyond the game highlights, beyond the stats, and we're giving you like full look, at the engine that keeps the program running. So I'm Sean Cameron. I'm a senior midfielder from New Hampshire. Joining with me is...
Yeah, I'm Lane Calkins. I'm a junior midfielder on the Princeton women's lacrosse team, here to give you an inside scoop to the women's side of Princeton lacrosse. And here today we have two amazing guests, McKnight Pederson and Tia Reaman, who really just drive the energy on both of our programs, both on the field and off the field. And they're really just the juice guys that keep the programs going.
Yeah, stoked to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then one thing I'd like to mention is I'll be referred to as Camo. I haven't been called my first name since day one of freshman year. I've always just been Camo, short for Cameron. So yeah, I just want to preface with that. But yeah, I guess we'll do some weekend recaps. Lane, you came off a big win, 12-11 versus Cornell up in Ithaca. Tell us about the win. If I remember correctly, you guys were up 9-1 at halftime, 10-3 heading into the fourth quarter, and you won by one goal. Walk us through it. What happened? How'd you stay calm and, not let them go on a 9-goal run?
Yeah, so definitely a bit of a nerve-wracking game. But I think a really great thing about the women's side of the Ivy League this year is it's really competitive. Everyone's kind of in the fight. Everyone is fighting for that number 1 spot, number 2 spot, and just to be able to get into the Ivy League tournament. And I think more so in past years, the men's side has always kind of seen that theme, like really big upsets. Every single Ivy League game is a really big game, whereas on the women's side, we're seeing more upsets. And kind of that number 1 spot is what everyone's clawing for this year, and I think this weekend was really a testament to that. Cornell is a really gritty team, and they didn't let up throughout the fourth quarter, and I would say the fourth quarter is not the best lacrosse we've ever played, but I think it was a good kind of sign for going into the next couple of games that are really big. We're playing Stony Brook on Wednesday, Columbia on Saturday, Penn next Wednesday, that we really need to stay locked in for this season if we want to stay in the same spot we were. Rankings came out this morning. We were 5th in the media poll and 3 in RPI, which
That's awesome.
Is huge for the women's program. I can't remember the last time we were ranked that high, and I think everyone can attest that our entire team got chills when we were at that poll, just because we were unranked 2 years ago. And it's really cool to see how far we've come and that have kind of established ourselves within the top 10 in the NCAA. But yeah, I think just coming off this weekend, staying hungry, staying really locked in for this season. Like, it's a very, very, very long season. It's a long fight, but I think really not giving up regardless of the opponent that we're getting, and I think Cornell really showed us that. Yeah,
that's great. It's also great not seeing, I'm from a lacrosse family. My sister played at Northwestern, and the past 10 years it's been Northwestern, BC, UNC, and Maryland dominating. It's cool. It's good to see you guys in the top 5 and 2 Ivy Leagues in the top 10, so keep it up.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Huge. Yeah, let's go into your weekend. You had a really big win against Vermont, as well as packed game week last week. You played Dartmouth and Lehigh before that, so walk me through the 3 wins, as well as like how the rankings went this week.
Yeah, it's three games in 7 days, so it's a lot for us. Just like we're a deep roster, but still, it's just a lot on the body to stay healthy. We did have some injuries this past weekend, but we got through it. Like you said earlier, is like we're the targets now. People used to look past the Ivy League. Now it's like they want to beat the Ivy League. So every game, whether it's Lehigh, whether it's Dartmouth, Vermont, like they're coming to beat us, so we have to keep that mentality. And our games were a little closer than we anticipated. It's just because like these guys, they're coming to win, and so we have to keep that mentality. But we're number 3 in the media poll, which is amazing. It's cool to be that high up and like highly rated, and then number 1 in RPI, which is arguably a lot more important. It's the number 1 indicator for the NCAA tournament, and so statistically speaking, although we should ignore it, we are locked to make the tournament per the analytics, so it's exciting.
Yeah, that's huge. How are you guys feeling going into Brown this coming weekend?
Confident, but we have a lot to fix. I think we, scoring, we have to put the ball in the net more, get some more stops. The best stat is we were 25 for 25 clearing against Vermont, which is our biggest accomplishment for sure. Yeah,
it's huge. And I think a really cool thing about both the men's and women's side this year, I know they released a statistic a couple weeks ago saying that we were top 5 in the country for a combined win percentage as a program, which I think is really special just because, as you can see, we all are super close and we all are like each other's biggest supporters. So I think us both being successful this year is both really inspiring to watch and to participate in. And I don't know whether that statistic has changed, but I think us being a combined ranking of 8, like combined our teams are top 10, is something that's really cool. I know, like going to your guys' games, it's always super exciting. You guys always show up to ours. So I think the goal is to keep that trend going.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep it firing.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough of the stats and the weekend recap. I would first like to congratulate both McKnight and Tia on submitting their senior thesis.
Let's go.
Give us the lowdown. How many pages did you each write? If you would explain it to me or a fifth grader, what would you say?
Yeah, sure. So psyched about it. It's out of the way. Essentially what I wrote about was the increase in private companies in outer space and kind of how that's creating a little bit of militarization, but also the need to keep that innovation going. It was about 96 pages. So
That's impressive.
Yeah.
McKnight?
Well, mine was about the immigration crisis, and I looked at border construction of the border wall, and I argued that border construction decreased air quality, and I measured it through, if I was signing this to a fifth grader, it'd be kind of hard, but it's particulate matter, 2.5, that's referred to the diameter of the particulate matter. And unfortunately, my results were statistically insignificant.
Right.
But
that happens.
That's happened. That's why we suggest things for future work. And so I wrote about that, totaling in at a roughly 103 pages.
Wow.
That
That's
includes
impressive.
citations, though.
Yeah,
Includes
it's
citations.
a lot more than I'm going to have.
So spaceships and borders.
Spaceships and borders. That's
all
awesome.
very interesting.
very important.
Should we give him an icebreaker?
Yeah, let's do a couple icebreakers.
Yeah, you get started.
Okay. Tia McKnight, what is your favorite pregame ritual?
I would say our pre-game locker room dances.
Oh, yes.
This really gets the team going, gets us hyped. It's a lot of fun.
Who's your favorite dance?
That's a really tough one.
At least that you can say in public.
I like our freshmen, the freshman
Okay.
dance.
Yeah,
They always give it so much energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of changed this year for me. Prior to my injury, I really loved I had this 15-minute yoga session that I did before every practicing game, kind of get the head right, get the body right. So that was definitely my favorite. This year's got to be my pregame speeches to the defense. It's just about pure energy, getting the boys up. And I'd say that, thinking about it, my speech, where I'm going to go with it and write about it. That's probably my favorite this year.
That's good.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. We'll circle back later. Let's just hear Lane's first. Your pregame
My
ritual.
pregame ritual. So before every game, I braid Amelia Hughes' hair. She's very particular about who braids her hair and has to be the same person every single time. So I have the honor and privilege of doing that for the reigning Ivy League goalie of the year. And along with that, I'm trying to think of what else I do. Campbell, we can go to you and then we'll start.
Yeah, mine's interesting. I listen to "Joy of My Life" by Chris Stapleton. It's a slow country song. For some reason, it gets me fired up. I don't know, it gets me my feels. So it's my pregame ritual, and then I shoot 2 hours before the game. I'll go out there with a bucket of 30 balls and just try to nail the top right corner until I can't miss. So
Okay, grinder.
yeah, so that's my pregame ritual.
Yeah. Actually, we do have a new pregame ritual that Addie, Zoe, and I, who are two freshmen on our team, have adopted. Before Yale, we grounded before the game. We went out to the grass. We sat there with our bare feet, and then we won it. It was probably the greatest lacrosse game I've ever watched in my life. So unfortunately, it was raining on Saturday, and we couldn't do it, but we didn't really play that well. So I'm seeing a key theme. So I think grounding is something we're definitely going to adopt.
Kind of on the wavelength of grounding. Me and 10 guys, this is probably second favorite. I got 10 guys doing breath work with me. If you ever looked up Wim Hof breathing.
No.
Oh, the world changes your life. For the people at home, Wim Hof breathing. Shout out Wim Hof. Kind of gets the boys dialed, it oxygenates the blood. It primes it for the battle coming in a few hours.
We're all about wellness here at Princeton
Exactly.
Lacrosse.
On our side.
Yeah. But for those of you that don't know, McKnight, he had a season-ending knee injury in the fall. Unfortunately, you're on man up or man down last year, and now your role is more on the sideline and hyping everyone up. And one thing that I'm jealous of, I've never experienced one of your pregame deep speeches. We're usually doing our shoot-in drills around 30 minutes left on the clock and warm-ups, and I hear McKnight in the middle of the defense and the whole circle just firing everyone up. You feel the energy, and maybe one day you'll bless us with bless us O guys with the speech, but tell us about it. What goes into it? How do you prepare for it? Because it's electric.
Yeah. Transitioning back to the first part of your question is it was definitely difficult being that injured guy who tries to bring the energy obviously you walk in thinking you want to be an All-American as a freshman, and it's just a fact that not everyone's going to be that guy. But if I were to have a message to the people at home, I'd say, like, to young guys out there, you can always have an impact no matter what. Energy is infectious. So circling back to the second part of your question, I'd try and think of like one word theme for the week. Whether it's like drive, it's about family. I think about that theme, and then what really gets the boys going is I give historical examples.
All right.
So historical examples that relate to the theme, and how we can do it. Like last week's was about family and domination. And then I used Genghis Khan as he was a family, and they were really deliberate about what they did, and it really gets the boys going. I can't really walk through a speech because it's got some explicit language to it. But yeah,
Nice.
It's probably just the theme, and then connecting it to historical examples.
I love that.
That's
We
so
need
cool.
one for the outside one day. One day.
Okay,
I wanna hear it,
I
too.
want to hear one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tia, we have something similar. You are our elected head of state, which I guess McKnight is more referred to as the juice guy, but
Yeah.
the leaders of our sideline are referred to as the heads of state, and Tia is the head of the heads of state. So she kind of runs the show over there. But before every single game, we do like a sideline huddle because the starters do their own separate huddle. So just kind of walk me through what goes on during that. I know you were very vocal during our Harvard game just because that kind of has more like a hometown pride sense into it. But
For
just
sure.
kind of like walk me through what goes
sure.
on.
Yeah, in terms of heads of state, we it was kind of, it's not even an organized thing. It was kind of we were all like, okay, we need to get some sellies going. One person from each class, bring it in, and we all kind of huddled around. Ended up being 3 sophomores, me, and 1 freshman. So no juniors. But we got Lane after your foot injury, so we got you for 1 game.
Broken foot, gotta love it.
So yeah, no, but it's a group thing for sure. And then before every game, we bring in 1 person from the state of the school. So this week we had
was Batch, yeah.
yes, because she's from New York and we're in Cornell. So she gave us a little just pregame hype up speech, and it was great. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
That's
great
funny.
energy.
That's pretty clever.
Super fun.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for celebrating? Like, has a ref ever like called you out, gave you a warning or a penalty?
Yeah, not me personally, but we got a bench warning during
It was the Harvard game.
The Harvard game,
Yeah.
yes, of course. And it was off of an 8-meter, and one of our sophomores yelled, I don't know the exact words, but it's not
Basically, Abby
Yeah.
Roberts she always goes 6 side on the 8 meters. It's like her, Dylan Allen, and Sam Whiting just because they're fast as lightning. And she's on the 8 meter, and the ref calls a false start. And I believe Ava Keenan was on
Shout
the
out.
sideline and screams onto the field, it's not a false start if she's just fast.
Yeah.
And then the ref turned around and said bench warning.
It's a big problem.
Yeah, huge
But
problem.
And honestly, it just made us more hype. That made us louder, made us get our sellies together. So yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
McKnight, have you guys ever gotten in trouble?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Plenty of times.
This year actually was down in Carolina at Duke. Like after the first goal, we had like like at least 5 guys. If we look at the lacrosse field, at least to the box line. Just chirping. One guy was on all fours, like acting like he was a dog.
I remember watching that on TV. And I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way this doesn't make out
And
no context across.
the refs definitely let us hear it. They were like, "We're calling it this year." So my job for the rest of that game and into future games is I'm just holding everybody back. I'm just the wall.
Okay.
They can go ape. Ooh, I almost caught myself. They can go crazy behind me, but my goal is to keep them off the field now.
Okay, because your old role, at least like from the games that I would watch, is you kind of like walk behind the entire bench with your stick. You almost look like Gandalf just because you're walking around with your deep pole and kind of like yelling in guys' ears. I can never really hear what was going on, but obviously your role's a little bit different now that you're injured. But kind of what would you be saying when you'd be kind of like marching up and down the bench?
Just like keeping the vibes high. Like I said earlier, energy's infectious, and like you guys witnessed on the back end against Cornell this past weekend, it's like when the other team's on a run, it can drain the sideline.
100%.
Just suck the life out of a team. So it's always about keeping the vibes high. Like, and most of the time, I span the length of the bench is after an opposing goal, and I'm just like flush it next play. Who's gonna make the next play? Because it's all about the next one. So just like constant reminders. I bet you some of the guys probably get a little annoyed. I think I say flush it probably 25 times every time they score.
No, someone needs to do it.
So it's little messages, and then like before the game, it's always a ritual of mine. Is I run down the sideline, give everyone fist bumps, need everybody. So I go down even to the supporting staff that aren't playing, equipment managers, etc. And I just say need everybody, need the positive energy. We're all pulling on the rope. So just I'd say simple messages like that is what I'm just constantly reminding of. And then I like personally for like the O guys, I always say confidence and swagger.
I love it.
D guys is more of like, hard nose, like we got to play fundamentally sound. And I just feel like the O guys, I'm like confidence and swagger,
what it's all about.
And so, little messages.
Yeah, I love when you go up and down the sideline, especially like, it's tough to say this, but after they like other teams go on a run, like McKnight's going up and down, like stay up, like hold the rope, and like that does like the bench energy is contagious.
Yeah.
And one time, going back to the Duke game, which I thought was hilarious, the ref basically gave us a warning to stay off the field, and we totally just shifted to like crazy bench celebrations to like Kevin Morrow, like what was it?
Part in the Red Sea.
Yeah, part in the Red Sea. Mm-hmm. Hammering his stick into the ground, the whole bench just falls on their back to like the firing range. It was scored bar down, and
self-hype.
Okay, so
and the whole bench just gets on a knee and starts doing a firing range, which I think is no longer allowed.
I don't know if you guys
it should have been a penalty, but it was still
electric in the moment.
Yeah, it was electric. I love the row the boat. I think it's hilarious.
That's a good one,
everyone's in a line and their legs around each other and just rowing the boat. So we've made some changes other than just like storming the field, but equally as impactful.
Yeah, T, can you walk me through? We kind of have like set sallies for every single goal we have, or just kind of like specific moments. So can you kind of walk me through how you guys have mapped that out and like what we do?
For sure. So we'll bring sometimes the heads of state together, and we're like, all right, so next goal we're doing kick line, next one we're doing mosh pit, which is usually at home because you can't really mosh when there's no music at other games. So but it's like Kenzie's song, like Where the Freaks At, like we all go like in mosh pit, it's the best. And then sometimes we'll do row the boat. We did that one time, it flopped, but we're gonna try it again. And then what's another one that we do?
Well,
the
fourth
wave.
The
fourth, yes. We always do, it's always Addie, I think. She always, little golf swing, and we look and go 4. So it's...
Don't we have something for 10 too?
Yes, we bench 10.
Oh, yeah.
Bench 10 goals.
And your strength coach does it, right?
Yes,
yep,
and she's always behind. She's a spotter. Really, that one's probably my favorite.
If I'm not mistaken, you guys have goal songs, right?
We do, yes.
That's pretty epic. What's your goal song?
My goal song is Bring 'Em Out by T.I.
My favorite goal song, we went to the Harvard game, and Meg Morrisroe had like 5 goals, and her goal song is by Meg the Stallion. It just goes, go Meg, go Meg. I think it's the funniest goal song. It's just like, goal by, what number is she?
3.
Goal by number 3, Meg Morrisroe. Go Meg. So, I don't know. I thought it's amazing.
And I think the funniest thing about her is when you talk to her, she's like pretty reserved and like pretty quiet and like just the funniest girl, but like not super extroverted. But her goal song is literally just like
so out there.
Go Meg, like
so good.
listing her full name. And I just think like the goal song is so not her, but it's so perfect for her in the same way. Just because like she is that one person that like she can pick a goal song that is literally just like shouting her own name and it just like fits perfectly. But like if anyone else were to do it, like it probably just wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah. I could agree with that. And Havens is pretty funny.
Man-eater.
Yeah.
Tia, who's your favorite goal song?
I really like Kenz's just because it was Kyla Sears, shout out, 2022. It was her goal song. And every single time I hear it, kind of brings me back to that year as well. And that was a year that we also were doing super well. And so it kind of just, I feel like, kind of centers us a little bit because Ken's always scoring. That song's always coming on. It's like Kyla Sears really brings us back together as a team.
I like that, yeah.
I will say my favorite goal song, which unfortunately will not be played anymore for the rest of the season, is Grace Mulham, who just tore ACL a couple weekends ago and is actually getting surgery today. So thinking about you, Grace. But her goal song is Let Me Clear My Throat. Which like as a freshman, I think #1 scoring in a collegiate game is a huge accomplishment, and I think like starting and playing in one is even a bigger one as well. But she set some really huge goals for us this season. And then I think the fact that she's just like walking away from the goal and the song like "Let Me Clear My Throat" is playing, I think it's just like the toughest thing I've ever heard. And whenever whenever it plays, I just get so motivated because I'm like, this team is so good, and it like really comes from the bottom up. And I think it's just like, it's such like a gritty song to have. I love it.
McKnight, what's your favorite of ours? We have Fly. We just have 2 goal songs. We have Fly, Free from Desire, and then we have a third now.
Free Bird,
Freebird,
which
as well.
has been recently integrated.
I like that.
Yeah, I like Fly my best. I like Fly the best.
I love Freebird, especially because like sometimes when we're on a run and it's like 3 goals in, they just can go right to the chorus. So I like Freebird's sick.
Yeah,
Freebird's
I think
sick.
they're good.
What goes through picking your goal song? Because obviously we get to kind of pick our own, but you guys
I
get
think they're just like team songs.
Team
Really?
songs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what gets us going. Like it probably started as like on a weekend, Saturday night, playing it, and everyone's singing it, and then made it our goal song. Celebrate.
Shout out DJ Mulch though
Yeah,
for the
DJ
pregame
Mulch.
mixes.
DJ Mulch saved our pregame mix
He always
the
does.
day before Virginia, and it's incredible. Really gets us hype.
Yeah, it's great. Should talk about our favorite Princeton lacrosse experience ever.
Yeah, I think we should go. McKnight, you want to start?
Favorite experience ever.
Or just like favorite memory?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I got to go like our team trip to Barcelona and Andorra.
That was awesome.
Like so many memories here at, Murray Place and down at 52. But like that team, especially because we unfortunately struggled at the beginning of that year, but it was really cool to go out there as a team. Really good bonding moment. I felt like brought everyone together. Obviously, Andorra and Barcelona are 6 spots. We got to play. I have a picture on my phone. We got to play a practice like right on the beach in Barcelona, and I got a selfie with Coulter Maxey. Shout out 9-1. But yeah, I thought that was like really surreal. Like, oh, I'm playing next to an ocean, but like in Barcelona, and it was funny because like before that, there was no one at this little park, and as we started playing, like 20 minutes in, like there was just random locals coming in, like, what's this? Like, what are they playing right now? Because we also had the Barcelonian like national team, I think, and they were inter-squad scrimmage with us, and you just had locals like coming in, like, what? They're all carrying soccer balls and stuff, and they're just looking, watching. By the end of it, we had at least 200 people watching us, so that was cool.
That was definitely one of my highlights on that trip. We crossed this bridge. Actually, I didn't cross it. It was this bridge.
I remember those pictures.
It was suspension bridge.
It was a suspension bridge that was this like slim piece of metal that every time you stepped, it would shake, and it was like 4,000. What was the elevation?
Oh, something
it was
like that.
Yeah.
So, Camo, are you saying you're afraid of heights?
I am. And so the whole team crossed it. It was the most there's ever been. It's the first time there's ever more than 50 people.
Fun fact
on it.
is like after we cross it, they're like, oh wow, and they tell our head coach that was the most weight they've ever put on the suspension bridge at one time.
great.
I of course just watched them, took photos. I'm a photographer, and I just stood on the side. I did not want to risk it, but that was definitely like it was a highlight because it was laughable. But looking back, I wish I did it just because everyone's
Anyone else
still
on
here.
the team that's afraid of heights?
Michael Kelly.
Oh,
And then Coach Ellis, who was our
No
old
longer
strength
with
coach.
us.
Yeah, the three of us
Coach
that
Ellis.
we sat it out, which is unfortunate. But
Gotcha.
Tia, what's your favorite experience?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Like I could talk about kind of any of the smaller things we do in like the penthouse, which is where me and Sarah Nelson, another senior, live. It's kind of like a big part of our team. But I think that it's just so fresh in our minds, just the Yale win. I think there is honestly nothing better than like our sideline celly that one time when Haven low angle sidearm at the end of the third. Just like winning that game and kind of all of the 3 or the 2 years of kind of consistently losing to Yale and then just finally beating them, and like the whole team, like the energy was just, it was so high.
Yeah. I think like I still get chills thinking of that day.
Chills,
and obviously you kind of like want to look forward through like the rest of the season, but I think like you look down the sideline and people's eyes are getting like watery, and our coaches, I've never seen them so happy. Like we went to the locker room after winning that game and they were jumping up and down, dancing to Get It Sexy by Sexy Red.
Yep.
I think like I still laugh about it thinking about it because
Oh my
it was
gosh.
just like so amazing and so funny, and like really like to Tia's point, like from the bottom up, like the hype on the sidelines was like unreal. I think the Yale girls were like, what did they do this morning to act this way? But
Really big team win.
yeah,
It was great.
really huge team win. And I think to kind of build off that, another huge Ivy win we had was last year against UPenn. It was like a Wednesday game.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was like the 3rd rain game we had in a row. And I don't know if you ever played lacrosse in the rain, but it is not a fun experience, especially in New Jersey when it's more often than not really cold.
Freezing.
And it also sucks because a lot of fans can't really come out. So, like, you're playing a really big opponent versus Penn. You can't have a lot of fans because it's raining, it's cold, it's hard. We had been in the rain for so long, and we're walking down the field, and normally we had like, one specific song to walk into the stadium to, and our seniors had switched it to Unwritten, which is a song that goes Feel the Rain on Your Skin. And we all just, like, sat there with the rain pouring down on us and screamed it, like, at the top of our lungs, and we went out there and we beat Penn, who was at that point ranked higher than us, and it was a really big upset for us. And it was as if, like, it was a night game, but it was as if, like, the sun came out from the clouds, like, the rain had stopped mid-game, like, we were up the entire time, we played out of our minds, and I think that'll always be a fond memory of mine, like, whenever we hear that song, it just, like, always brings us back, and, like...
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
Because they were ranked, like... They were up there. They just had a big win the week before, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They played, was it Maryland?
I think they played Maryland and won. I'm not quite sure, but I know that they were ranked above us.
It's weird I know that, but
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of playing in the elements, against Dartmouth, it was
it was
sleeting,
freezing
snow.
rain.
We thought you guys were gonna get stuck there.
And that was brutal. But one thing I did, like you talking about the rain, made me think of it. Is I was like, what, we're talking about the elements all week, and I was like, what can I do to, like, just say F it and just, like, no one, doesn't matter. So, like, right before we went out, I took my shirt off.
I love that.
And I always give fist bumps to the boys right before they take the field. So I took my shirt off. I was like, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. Come on, let's go, folks.
Oh my God.
That was hilarious. It got me fired up. It was freezing
boys.
rain. It was literally like the
God.
field. If you threw a bounce shot, it would, like, accelerate off the ground. It was, like, really icy. And I see McKnight out there just firing us up, and it was amazing. Like, basically the weather switched to 70 and sunny. That's our motto. It's always 70 and sunny. Last year you guys had 7 for 7 rain home games, which was quite something special.
Pretty brutal. So anytime we step on the field and our sticks are dry and our cleats are dry, I think we're all really grateful.
Tiger weather, we like to call it.
Yeah.
Gets us
Tigers hunt.
Yeah.
In the rain at night.
Exactly.
Before we get past it, I'd love to share my favorite experience.
Please.
It was quarterfinals freshman year. We beat Yale.
Yeah.
Huge game. Sent us to the Final Four. But the special part was, for the alumni watching, you know what reunions are. But everyone was on campus. The last 2 years of reunions got canceled. So I think there was like 80,000 alumni on campus. And we get back, and the bus gets stopped in the middle of the road on campus, and there's fireworks going. And, of course, it was for reunions, but it felt like it was for us as we get back. And, like, Princeton just beat Yale in the quarterfinals, and there's just fireworks all throughout campus.
And, of course, it's all for you guys.
Yeah, it just felt like it was for us. But that was funny. So, yeah, we got back, saw some fireworks, and we saw, like, every alumni, and they just, like, fired up to see us. So it was, like, the best day ever.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Because you guys are, I guess, like, the certified McKnight for you, Juice Guy, Tia for you, head of state. Do you guys have, like, a specific team that you just really, like, love to play and chirp? Tia, I know that our sideline chirps are a little bit more pointed and specific than the guys might be, so maybe you can elaborate on that. But McKnight, I would love to know, like, if there's a specific team you just, like, love to kind of, like, play and chirp.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, preface this by saying, like, there's a team motto of ours. It's, like, all about us. So, like, we really preach that, like, we shouldn't. Now we shouldn't, but there's still guys who do, like, chirp the other team excessively because it's all about the group. It's all about what you can control. But on that note, I really like getting the juices flowing for Penn. Really like getting the juices for Yale. I mean, by far, those are my top two.
I could agree.
I think they can attest on the other side is there's just that hatred for one of another. Like, whatever genius designed our sophomore year, the Ivy League championship, we were at Columbia, and whoever thought it was a good idea to put us and Penn together on the women's softball field to warm up should be reconsidered, because there was some questionable things said on both sides, and it got heated very quickly.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, I'd say those two.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious answer is, Penn and Yale, but I think for our team, I would say Loyola. It's always just such a chippy game, and it's usually very, very close for us. And then this year, specifically, we our sophomores, shout out Ellie Nicholas and Ava Keenan again. They love to do a deep dive into just like the team in general, different players, and we had some good chirps going that game, and it was electric.
Yeah, and by deep dive, Tia means they Google search their entire lives to the point they figure out like their
It's
home
impressive.
address.
Very impressive.
The person they went to junior prom with, they go through everything. So
It's classic.
it's honestly quite admirable because I wish I had that much time to do that. But they just really like put their heads down and just grind it out. And I'll be standing on the field and I just like hear the stuff they're saying from the sidelines. And I was like, if I was the other team and I heard another player saying that from the other side, I wouldn't even be like angry or like, what the heck's going on? I would more just be like, what is wrong with these people?
And usually, we've
Yeah.
had a lot of people like come up to us after the game, or like people on our team. They're like, the person I was standing with, like on the field, they're like, how are they coming up with these things? What are they even saying over there? And you know,
it's mostly like you hear chirps where it's like, oh, like you suck, like hit the cage. It's like, oh, like think of something more creative. If I heard what they were saying, I would really reconsider stepping out.
One of my favorites that I've heard from, shout out CJ, our freshman goalie. He's a goalie, so I let him say it. But every time we score, he always yells, "Turn and rake, keep, turn and rake," and that one always gets the boys fired up on the bench. That's a good one. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, chirps. It's fun. It's part of the fun of the game and whatnot. It's definitely it gets intense sometimes. But I think going back to Penn and Yale, like we recruit against those guys. Like everyone that visits Princeton is also visiting those two schools, and like that's where it gets more competitive and like. We've been winning the battle. We have had like the number one recruiting class, top 3 the past like 4 years. And so like to them, I'm sure it's like really personal as well. So that's why those games are just like so energized and heated, 100%.
Yeah. And I think on our side of things, it's more so like we're number 1 in the Ivy League right now and we're at 5th in the country, which are all both great things. But I think when it comes to the Ivy League, we really have like an underdog perspective. You know, that was the first time we'd beaten Yale. I think, what was it, like 702 days?
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone can fix that number for me. I don't know. But it was a very long time since we've beaten Yale. I personally had never beaten Yale since being a player at the school. And then I think on Penn's side of things, we lost to them in the Ivy League tournament last year, despite the fact that like we were seated above them. So despite the fact that we made the NCAA tournament after that, which obviously we're very grateful for and had 2 really good games against Drexel and Boston College, I think like I'm grateful to kind of have an underdog perspective going into it just because like I know you guys like can be gritty regardless, and like I think when it comes to like recruiting and like getting guys and like showing out for those games, like it's always really tough in the Ivy League. But I think especially on our side of things, we really haven't like gotten a step above them in a while. I think it kind of makes you hungry for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so McKnight, I hear there's a new team mascot for Princeton.
Yes, there is.
Men's lacrosse, who goes by the name of Terry. So
yes, Scary Terry is his full name. He's a veiled chameleon. I got him after I won fantasy football. That's why he's named Terry, after Terry McLaurin. Oh. Thanks for getting the fantasy win for me. Won the championship, and I was like, you know what could be funny as kind of like showing off a little bit to the rest of the boys, because I'm living with eight other guys, and gotta show them that I won fantasy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go look at the pet store, and I've really been obsessed with ferrets. Okay, ferrets are really cool. I had. Okay, rewind a little bit.
Are ferrets like the ones that are like kind of slinkies?
Yeah,
but in animal form? Yeah.
So Bubba Fairman, another Locks family from Utah, grew up playing with them. They had a little pet ferret named Pajama, and you'd be playing Xbox with him, and he'd crawl up your whole body and then wrap around like kind of like a scarf. And I was like, just fell in love with it. So I wanted a ferret. Let's preface by saying that. Show up, they didn't have ferrets. I was like, okay, what? I was like, you know what? That looks sick. Like a chameleon. I just saw him change colors, and I just looked in his eyes, and I was like, you know what? That kid wants to go home with me. So I bought him, took him home, and they're like, oh my God, McKnight, what'd you get? And I was like, you'll never guess. Bang, chameleon. So
he's massive now.
He's massive now.
Feeding him all the crickets?
Yeah. Feed him crickets. I actually just fed him before I came down here.
How big is
I
he?
haven't seen him in a couple months.
He started out like a little baby like this. Now he's definitely there.
He's that big now?
Yeah, he's a long.
When I saw him, he was just a little
chameleon.
baby.
Yeah, now he's big now.
He could like hide in his
thriving.
little, what's it called?
Cage.
Yeah, cage.
Yeah, his little cage.
Yeah.
I got him a new plant. The old one died. But it's kind of funny now because I'll be just out for the weekend and I'll come home like a Saturday night or Sunday, and there's just everyone in my room looking at Terry, and now you can like pull him out. I mean, he's a little aggressive, but he won't hurt you.
Aggressive.
Yeah,
he'll hiss and
he'll
howl.
hiss at you.
yeah.
But
Okay.
once you pick him up, he'll let him crawl around. He just like cruises around. Like on Saturday there was like 15 people in my room, and he was just getting past person to person.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you think he likes that, or do you think he gets scared?
No, I don't think he likes it. I think he's getting used to it. I think it stresses him out. Like when you take him out first, like he'll turn like super green with like black spots. And then, so I try to always reward him though afterwards. I'm like, okay, good job, buddy, surviving that, and give him a little snack. Crickets.
What's your favorite color of Terry's?
Honestly, he's been starting to turn this like really, really bright green, and that means he's happy.
Okay.
Yeah. So like when you see any sort of pattern, I looked it up, and if you see any sort of pattern, it usually means they're stressed.
Okay.
So like this morning, he was
You've done
really.
your research.
Oh yeah. Got to be a good parent, can't neglect the thing. So yeah, he was but before this, he was like neon green, like really cool green, and I was like, oh, that's sick. So probably that new color of green.
Very cool.
Yeah.
He's very zen, not stressed out.
Not stressed at
that's
all.
good.
Saturday he was like black, but that's all right.
Okay.
Nice. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Save a question for next time.
Perfect.
Episode
Okay.
2. But yeah. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully you gained some more insight into Princeton lacrosse, both on the men's and women's side. Looking forward to our next episode.
Yeah, and thank you so much
Yeah,
to
thanks
McKnight and Tia. Love hearing about
Yeah.
the juice, things that go on the sideline. I
Yeah.
think you guys provided us with some really good stories and some really good insight. So, I mean, just keep up what you're doing
Someone's
the rest of the
gotta do
season.